All right, so this is a very interesting post by Alvin, and broadly speaking, I understand the point. Money, making money is a skill. You've got to learn a skill. So diplomas and certifications and experience, education, it doesn't really help. You need to have a skill that employers value, and then keeping your money is self-discipline. Like, don't spend money on stuff you don't need, and growing your money or investing it is a science, but also an art. So Alvin is mostly correct, largely correct. So let's take a look at the comments that I wrote a comment about my ebook Mastering the Money Game. And by the way, I hope that it teaches people that you always have to promote your work, because the idea that you know you have to let your work speak for itself, it doesn't work, because your work doesn't have a mouth. So you have to promote your work. And so here, having more control over your time, Dennis is right. But I think that a lot of comments here, they uh, they believe that money and time are mutually exclusive. I mean, if you have more money, then you can hire people, and then you have control over your time. So it's not that the goal of making money is shifting to making time. The two can be together, and people here, they make that mistake very often. Um, okay. And art. So here, Maria is seems to be criticizing making money, because she talks about meaning, purpose, inclusion. But I think that's just from her perspective, because you can make a lot of money, and you can be artistic, you can include people, you can have purpose in your money making. Um, okay, doing what matters. Money is not it. That's true. Money is just a shadow of value. Um, Multiplying money is an art, really hits home. It's smart compounding, not just hustle. That's true. I'm gonna like that. Money isn't everything. Well, I would say that money is everything in areas where money is everything, right? Like, for example, if you travel all over the world in any country, they will need money. Like, if you need something, they're gonna need to see your credit card. They're gonna need to see some cash. So money is everything. Money is the only thing that merchants will accept in certain areas. But in other areas, like friendship or relationship or parenting, money is nothing. So to say that money isn't everything, I mean, it's not quite correct. I mean, basically, it means that money is important in areas where it matters, and money is not important in areas where it doesn't matter. Spending money is a pain for some and a pleasure for others. Uh, I don't know why he's talking about spending money. To lack money is a death. No money, no food, no dignity. We aren't normal human beings. It's all about experience. Without experience, the other three will not get you far. Yeah, but experience comes from mistakes, and mistakes comes from trying new things, right? So you have to try new things. Um, Protecting assets, that's true. Spending it could be addictive. The spending is not addictive itself. It's the whole advertising industry that makes it addictive. Took me 36 years. Yeah, this is a very candid answer, but it shows me that my book, Mastering the Money Game, is really necessary, and it can teach people to learn what they need to learn. Children, what they need to learn, like within a few hours. You don't need 36 years. All right, so that's it, guys. But I just wanted to share with you that, in life, you got to learn new skills, acquire new knowledge, right? And unfortunately, everyone has a smartphone, but most of the information online is pretty useless, even misleading. And Alvin Fu is one of the rare people I'm connected to on LinkedIn who's always posting, provocative and insightful posts. And so this is a very insightful. It looks simple. It looks deceptively simple. Making money is a skill, maintaining money is a discipline, multiplying money is an art. But like I could develop like a 1 day seminar based on these 3 levels. It's really profound. And so people should not just read it and, write a comment here. You can see that 19 people wrote a comment. You should really think about it. What does he mean when he says making money is a skill? What skill is he talking about? And how does the educational system helping or not helping children to acquire those skills? I can tell you from experience that I spent 3 years at McGill University studying business in the Faculty of Management, and they didn't teach me how to make money. They taught me how to acquire skills that would get me hired by an organization, and then I wouldn't make money for that organization. I would cost money. And so the organization that you're part of, they make money because they are serving customers. So making money means serving customers, and then the customers pay you. Okay? An employer is not a customer. An employer is not using your product. An employer is paying you a salary, and so when you receive a paycheck, you're not making money, you're costing them money. Because for them to make money and serve customers, they have to use you, your human capital, to help them. So you're just a help. You could be a vice president, a secretary, you're just the help. You're not making money. So when he says making money, it's important to really define what making money really is. Making money is like, it's like cooking. If you buy all the ingredients from a grocery store, you can cook. And the more you cook, the more you can serve people. So when you're cooking, it's like making money. But, when you're an employee, you're not serving customers directly. And so you're not making money. So right away, like the first 2 words are not defined. And people read it and they think that, oh, I have a paycheck and therefore I'm making money. No, that is so fundamentally wrong from a business perspective. You are costing money. And because you're costing money to the employer organization, when they find an AI or a software program that can replace you, they will replace you. And so you want to go from costing money as an employee to making money as a creator, as an entrepreneur. So right away, the first sentence right here, making money is a skill, completely misunderstood by most people. And that's why they're not able to, make money. They think that having a job means they're making money, but no, making money in a business sense means you're selling a product, not really a service. So when you go into business, think about creating a product and selling a product. Don't think about, selling a service. Why? Because selling a service is always limiting. Like you only have like 8 hours or 10 hours of productive work every day, and you only work like 5 days a week. And so your income is limited when you're offering a service. Like I've seen so many women entrepreneurs go into business and they offer a service, and at some point they're going to get tired, because a business is fundamentally about a product. You can see that on Dragon's Den or Shark Tank. They pitch a product. They rarely do they pitch a service. And if it's a service, it's probably a franchise or something like that, or it's usually it's a product. So make sure you understand what Alvin is talking about here. Making money is a skill, meaning that, serving customers is a skill. And when you're able to serve a customer, you can serve a second customer, a third customer, etc. if you're selling a product. Okay. And therefore, your money making has to be scalable. So you can say that making money in business is equal to skill times scale. If you just have skill, then you're an employee. Okay, you don't have scale. Okay. The second one, maintaining money. It's not really maintaining money, because money is not some machine that you have to maintain. It's really saving money. Like saving money is a powerful word. Like think about it. You're saving money. And when you save money, you save yourself. You save your family. So maintaining is the wrong word. I know it starts with M. It sounds cool, but maintaining is the wrong word. It's saving money, preserving money. Like think of your money as blood. Think that every time that you're spending money, and it's even worse when you're spending on credit, every time you're spending money, you're losing blood. You're getting weaker. So keep your money, preserve your money. Buy everything as cheaply as possible and only buy what you absolutely need today. Okay, that is the kind of self-discipline that it takes. And so you see, like I've been talking for about 10 minutes and I can go on and I will go on because what Alvin is talking about here is so crucial. It is foundational. People write a comment or they might read it and not write a comment, but they don't really understand the profundity of this quote here. The third one, multiplying money. Well, again, it's not really about multiplying money. You can't say like, I have $10,000, I'm going to multiply it by 3. No, it's the wrong verb. Like I'm a teacher, so every word I choose is very accurate, very precise. So it's not about multiplying money. It's about placing your money. Okay, like when you place your money somewhere, it could become capital. So capital means money that is working for you. So if you have money in your wallet, in your purse, that's just money. It's not capital. But if you invest, let's say $1,000 into a computer, then the computer is capital because you can be productive. You can create and produce new value, new assets with your computer. So, $1,000 in your bank account, that's money. But $1,000 that you've spent to acquire a computer, then that becomes capital. And capital means money that can work for you. It can work for you independently. Like if you invest in a stock market, I don't know, if you invest in Nvidia, then your money might grow. Or it can work only with your intervention. So if you buy a computer, then it's not going to work independently. Except in my case, of course, where I have software running all the time. And I can teach you how to do that so that my computers, I have a gaming PC and 2 laptops. They are working all the time. I use Python, AutoHotkey. Talk to me if you want to know more. But my computers are working all the time. Like even with prompt engineering, they're writing prompts all the time and getting answers from large language models. So anyways, the third sentence here, it's about placing your money somewhere, not in a checking account, not in a savings account. Just have enough cash for your operations, for your living, but place your money somewhere so that it can grow or it can produce value for you. So, these 3 things are exactly what I'm talking about in my book, Mastering the Money Game, because money is really a game. And it's a game that involves skills, that involves mindset, work ethics, discipline, self-discipline, science, art, and at each level, you're going to have a specific set of skills, a specific mindset, self-discipline, and so on and so forth. I would also add that here you see 3 levels, right? Like you can't really maintain money until you make money, and you can't really multiply money until you maintain or save your money. But I think what is missing here, and this is so important for parents and teachers, is the first level. And the first level, most people get it wrong. And it's when you identify and develop or acquire and then practice a money-making skill. Okay, because here, it says making money is a skill. Okay, great. But how do you acquire that skill? Like I said, I studied at McGill University, Faculty of Management, well-known business school. I didn't learn anything about business or making money. I learned about how to manage other people's businesses or business functions like accounting, finance, but I didn't learn how to make money. So can you imagine, like even in a business school, like McGill is known as the Harvard of Canada, and yet, I paid around $17,000, and I didn't learn about business. So if you're from engineering, computer science, arts, humanities, psychology, you're definitely not going to learn about making money. And so that's why I say that the first phase, the first level is missing here. And that level has to do with identifying the skills that you need to make money and then practicing those skills in an academic setting or in a setting that is as close as possible to real life. You practice, you acquire and you practice that skill over and over again. It's just one skill. It could be copywriting, it could be social media management, it could be content marketing, it could be email marketing. It's just one skill. You don't need a diploma, you don't need university, you don't need a college. All you need is YouTube. And from YouTube, you can learn a skill that makes money and practice it. And then after you're pretty good, you go to the marketplace and you demonstrate your skill to employers or clients. They hire you, and that's when you start to make money from that skill. That's when you get to the first level that Alvin is putting here. But the first level is missing, and I'm surprised it's missing. Alvin knows that. So why is it missing? It's missing because most people, I don't know, they think that identifying and picking and practicing a skill is a no-brainer. It's not a no-brainer. It's not like obvious, because the overwhelming majority of young people are misunderstand the first level. It's not about education. It's not about going to university and spending 3 or 4 years. It's about identifying the skill that you need to make money. Like, I guarantee you guys, I spent 3 years at McGill University. I did not learn one skill that could make me money. Not even one skill. I don't remember one skill. I can show you my transcript. I got like an A in almost every course. Marketing management, sales management, advertising management, operations management. It's all a bunch of theories, and they always put like management at the end. Why? Because it's a faculty of management. And this is not a criticism of my management professors. They were very good people, but even my management professors, they profoundly misunderstand business. Like, they were training us students in the Bachelor of Commerce program to become employees who cost money. They didn't train us to become, makers of money. So that's something that teachers and parents have to understand. Like, even when I was teaching digital marketing at Taft College, which is an excellent college, by the way, I highly recommend it. Very professionally run. I've always been very satisfied with the program, with the director of studies. Everyone was very professional. I loved it. But one thing I would say is that there has to be a course in the digital marketing program explicitly named how to make money. Because I was teaching email marketing, I was teaching online marketing research, I was teaching project management. And I was always telling students, guys, you got to learn how to make money for your clients. You got to learn copywriting. You got to learn how to close a deal. I even taught them my professional sales course, which I developed for the English Montreal School Board. It's a 15-week course where I was teaching the sales process, 5 steps: rapport building, needs assessment, presentation, objections handling, and closing. And so even in the digital marketing program, where you would think that digital marketing is all about advertising and make money online for yourself or for your employer, you would, expect a course about how to make money. But there isn't a course about how to make money in the digital marketing program. So that is the missing course. And now that I think about it, I should probably come back and give a pro bono Zoom session or a classroom session teaching students at Taft College how to actually make money, and not just how to cost money. Because once again, people have to understand that when you have a job, you're costing money. You are costing money because when you look at the income statement of your employer organization, your salary falls under expenses, right? You're costing money. You're not a line function, you're a staff function. So unless you're a sales representative, then you are actually making money for the company in the sense that you're generating revenue. So anyways, I've been talking for 19 minutes and I could go on, and I probably will go on because, this is so fundamental. The overwhelming majority of mankind, they are stuck in a situation where they have to work 5 days a week. In South Korea, it's 6 days a week, and in China, it's probably 6 or 7 days a week. This is crazy. Why are human beings who are super smart, why are they working so much? Because they don't understand the basics about business. And capitalism, like, if you want to understand capitalism, like if you're really serious about understanding capitalism, read the small book, The Mystery of Capital by Hernando de Soto. It's a very small book. It's going to take you, 1 hour, 2 hours to read it? And focus on the chapter, I think it's chapter 2, where Hernando de Soto describes the 6 properties of capitalism. So if I ask you, like, what are the 6 properties of capitalism, you wouldn't be able to answer. Like, even investors, like even accredited investors who are worth over $1 million, they wouldn't be able to identify the 6 properties of capitalism. Now, of course, they can still make money because they know the investing game. But what I'm telling you is that if you don't understand these six properties of capitalism, you don't really understand capitalism. You can go on Wikipedia; they're going to define capitalism as, free markets, ownership of the means of production, blah blah blah. But that's not a practical or operational definition of capitalism. So go ahead, please read the book "The Mystery of Capital" by Hernando de Soto. And by the way, President Bill Clinton once said that Hernando de Soto is the smartest living economist. The smartest living economist. This is from Bill Clinton. So anyways, guys, in this video, I try to help you to understand these 4 levels. But like I said, Alvin is missing the first level, which is about identifying and acquiring the skills that will make money. Because I think that most people, when they read making money is a skill, especially people on LinkedIn, that's 1 billion users. They're thinking immediately about, getting a job. But I'm telling you that making money is not about having a job. If you have a job, you're not making money. You are costing money. And so you got to get out of that situation so that, you can serve customers directly. And that's how you are making money. But the good news is that nowadays with the internet, social media, with automation, AI, you can keep your job for mortgage purposes. And on the side or on weekends, you can serve customers. That's how you learn to make money. Most people, for their entire career, like some 40 years, they never learn how to make money. They never learn how to make money. They confuse having a job and getting a paycheck with making money. No, you're getting a paycheck. That's what you're getting. That's it. You're getting a paycheck. And the money seems to be the same money that a freelancer is making, but it's not the same type of money. The money that you're getting from a paycheck is highly insecure. Why? Because your job is never yours. Your job is what you're renting out, like a tuxedo, from the employer. They can take away your job anytime. In fact, they can take away their job anytime. So I find it funny when people say, oh, I lost my job. No, you didn't lose your job. You never had it. It was never yours in the first place. Like if I lend you my lawn mower, if I lend you some kind of power tool, is it yours? No, it's not yours. It's mine. I can take it back anytime. So a job is really a loan. Okay, a job is a loan. And you're taking that loan and you keep paying interest. And one day they decide to call the loan and you got to give it back to them because the job was never yours. This is something that so many people don't understand. The job does not belong to you and they can take it away anytime. So that's why, like, when people talk about job security, it's complete nonsense. It's an oxymoron. A job, by definition, is not secure because it doesn't belong to you, right? So they can take away your job at any time. But of course, you have a mortgage to pay, you have, children to feed, a wife to take care of. Okay, so keep your job. But on the side, like, use AI to make money directly, by serving customers online, virtually on Zoom, through digital products, whatever. So you can have the best of both worlds. So, it's so amazing that there are so many technologies today, so many platforms that you can use, so many large language models, extremely powerful. But why is it that people are still stuck at a job? Because of all the misunderstanding I've talked about. They think that they think that having a job means they're making money, but it's not, right? You got to serve your own customers. And they don't understand, for example, that, the first step in this quote is missing, which is identifying and acquiring skills that actually make money. If you take a course on YouTube for free, or if you pay someone in a Zoom session to teach you a course, and if you're not able to turn around and use what you've learned to make money, then you've wasted your time. You might as well have learned it on Wikipedia, or you can go to the Saylor Academy by Michael Saylor, great man. He created the Saylor Academy. You're going to get all the education that you want, university level, for free. So that's education, but that's not a skill. If you want to, complete the first step in my Mastering the Money Game, the first step of money making, you've got to identify and learn and practice, a particular skill. And if you want to practice the right way, then read the handbook, the Cambridge Handbook of Expertise and Expert Performance by Anders Ericsson. It costs $100, but it's the best $100 that you can, that you can invest in, or you can read it at the library for free. And so that's how, you can practice your skill. Because before you can make money as a skill, that's the first sentence here, you've got to practice, 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 practice. I've been practicing ever since I was 20, the art of copywriting. That's why I became a great, profitable copywriter in my early 20s. So it's just one skill. I didn't have a university degree at all. It's just one skill, copywriting. And I was making money from that in French and in English. So pick one skill and make money. And while you're making money from that skill, you can learn a second skill. But you see, like, learning a skill is not in this image. And that's the missing thing. Teachers and parents don't understand that. Parents, for example, they think that, oh, I'm just going to pay the tuition fees for my kids. They're going to get into, a university program, engineering, computer science, whatever. And then they cross their fingers. Hopefully my kid, when they graduate 3 or 4 years later, they're going to get a job. But already, like, they are missing out on the first level, the first challenge in the money-making game, which is to learn a skill that you can make money from. So anyways, guys, I'm going to stop here because, I have to go for lunch. But, I am grateful to Alvin for starting this discussion. And, you can see that I've been talking for 26 minutes and I have so much more to talk about. It's just that people, they read what Alvin is sharing here and they just don't go deep. They don't go deep because they don't understand that money is a game. And most people, 99.9% of people, they don't understand that. For them, money is something they get after a hard day's work. So you have to work hard, and then you spend your energy, you spend time away from your family, and then you get the paycheck as a reward. But that's really stupid. That's really stupid. And not to offend anyone, that kind of mindset is stupid. That kind of belief system is stupid, where you think that a paycheck is actually the best that you can get, but it's not. Like, especially today with AI, you can do so much better than just get a paycheck. So anyways, guys, I'm going to stop here, but thank you for watching. And please share this video with all the people that you care about. It just took me 27 minutes of my time, but I think it's going to be so useful to so many people who, they probably read what Alvin is sharing here. Thank you, Alvin. But they don't really understand the money game. You don't understand the money game. It's a game. You got to actually study it. It's like a game of chess. If you don't understand the rules of chess, you're never going to win. But even if you understand the rules of chess, you're going to start at an ELO rating of 1200. And then you start playing and, like me, you're going to go to 1300, 1400. You get to a point where you're 2800, you're grandmaster. And eventually, you might be like Magnus Carlsen. But you know what? The good news is that AI knows everything about business. But you've got to have a fundamental understanding of business and the money-making game in 4 levels, like I talk about. Once you understand these 4 levels, then you can use large language models, to help you to move from one level to the next. But unless you understand these 4 levels, and unless you're serious about studying the game of money-making, you're going to be working for an employer for the rest of your life. Warren Buffett once said that if you don't find a way to make money work for you, you're going to be working for somebody else for the rest of your life. And that's great from Warren. But Warren is talking about the last level here. Multiplying money is an art. But before you get to the level that Warren Buffett is talking about, you got to master the first 3 levels. And it's like the movie Escape Room. Right now, young people are in the first escape room. They have to find a way to escape that room. In other words, the only way to escape that room is to learn and master and practice a skill. And then they get to the second room, which is making money from that skill, which is what Alvin talks about here. And then after they can make money from that skill, then they escape the room and they go to the third room, which is self-discipline, saving your money. A lot of people are failing at this level because they make a lot of money, but they also spend a lot of money using this devious invention for consumers called the credit card. Credit is good if you're a business, but credit is bad if you're debt is bad if you're a consumer. And then they escape that room and they have enough savings to learn to play the game of investing, which is the last level here. So you can see that the game of money making, it's really just a game. You got to learn the basics, and it's a lot of fun once you learn how to play the money game. But before you learn how to play the money game, money is going to be confusing. It's going to be even something stressful. Every time somebody's going to mention money, right away you're stressed. Oh my God, can I make ends meet, like, because you don't understand the game. It's just a game. It's just a game, and the more you play the game, the better you will get automatically. I guarantee you that. It's like playing tennis or any sport. The more you play and the more feedback you get, the more you're going to improve. And you get to a point where, like me, you can just teach the 4 levels of the money game, and people will pay you to teach them, because this is something that they've never learned from their parents or teachers. They've never learned the 4 levels of money making. Like even Alvin, who's super smart, he doesn't mention the first level. Why? Because he doesn't know. He doesn't know that the first level, and it's not his fault. I love Alvin, great guy, but why is it not there? Identifying and acquiring skills. It's not a no-brainer. It's not obvious. It has to be the first level, right? So anyways, guys, thank you for watching, and if you have comments on this video, please put them under the video, and I'll talk to you more in the next live stream.